The day where you look for these two people for Senate, you know see them, no say Nigeria don't get serious problem. Here waiting Enyi Naya Baribe and Oshomole, Adams Oshomole, they talk. They say this budget waiting will bring come. Say in fact, the whole of $30-something billion wey Tinubu carry go as budget for 2024. Now only 3% now he allocate for power supply. I don't know how this man take go read that big book, discover this thing, then also hear waiting Adams Oshomole to discover his own. Watch the video, share and make other Nigerian pussy and they come.
First, the Federal Executive Council approved as part of this budget the 8-point I will say agenda for the budget. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, nothing about power. Yet, in the same place, they are talking about employment. How are you going to employ anybody without power? How will the people who are welders, vulcanizers, and everybody do any work without power? So, and then in the main budget itself, I took time to go and look through the budget, and we are seeing that what was put for power was just about 3% of the total budget. Well, how will 3% of the total budget deal with an issue that is fundamental to the economy? Because if you don't have power, you do nothing. Every other thing that we are talking about, how would that work? So I think that this budget, I pray that we look around at it again as a Senate and see how we reorganize the priorities in the budget. Otherwise, what we will see is garbage in, garbage out.
The minority leader.
I wrote on the register that I want to speak today, not yesterday. I only commented on child abuse and women abuse yesterday. If that is an offense to the acting leader, thank God you are acting. Mr. President, let me lend my voice and commend you for getting us to sit today, being Friday. I think this is to respond to Mr. President's request that we do everything we can to maintain the budget cycle. And you have provided leadership for us to sit. And that for me is an indication that we are ready to make all the sacrifices we need to make to ensure that the National Assembly is not found wanting in terms of the critical idea of when does this budget take effect. There is no need to recycle the arguments already made about the key objectives. They are laudable, they are clear, they are doable. But I want us to be careful in commenting on some of the issues that we had already discussed, namely exchange rate. Those were discussed about 2 weeks before. And I'm not sure it's going to be helpful for us to revisit it, having already passed a decision on it. But the additional point I want to raise is that exchange rate is not a matter for parliaments to debate. It should not be a political issue. It is a matter that should be driven by competent, well-skilled, well-thought-out macroeconomic policy. It is those policies in effect that will determine whether the Naira dashes up or it dashes down. I believe, as the President said yesterday, we are supposed to do everything bold, take tough decisions on the economy, block leakages, ensure that Nigerian people get value for money, and we sensibly focus on job creation, which simply means producing more at home rather than importing more from abroad. If those policies are achieved, they will actually have positive impact on exchange rate. We have to be careful. We can't endorse the activities of those who are operating outside the system as being the key drivers or those who determine what our exchange rate should be. That is why those or people who claim that they are buying Naira at 1,100, I'm like, we as senators, we shouldn't be seen to be patronizing a market that is unknown to law. Therefore, I think the 750 is okay. If I have my way, it should be 500. Because the indicator should be that as a nation, we do not accept that the Naira continue to suffer endless flogging. it makes macroeconomic objective, in my view, to target the idea of bringing down the exchange rate and achieve stability at the rate of 750 or even below. Lastly, in order to keep to time, sir, I hope that those resolutions we pass in this house that we directed to Parliament, this is the occasion to visit them, with particular reference to the Bini, Auchi, Okene, Lokoja Road. That job has passed through almost 4 presidents. And as we speak, Mr. President, I can't go to my village from Benin. Senator Monday cannot go home. So I hope that the appropriation committee, when we see the details, that road is reflected during this dry season, so that this government can have the credit of completing a road that has passed through several presidents. If we don't get that road done, the economy of the South is severely affected, particularly the construction sector, because all the solid minerals in Edo have to move through.
You have 10 seconds remaining.
It's a serious economic challenge for the people of Niger Delta and if you like, for the whole country. Because going from Lagos to Abuja, that is the road our trailers have to pass. That is the road that services 2 giant cement factories that are driving part of our economy and creating jobs for our people. So I want to plead, I'm happy the chairman of appropriation, you are listening, that regardless, since I haven't seen the details, that Auchi Bini road is reflected in the budget, and with a view to completing it this year, 2024. I mean, this next year budget. Thank you, sir.
When Peter Obi went to Egypt to go and study how they managed to produce power supply, electricity, generate up to 50-something million, 50-something megawatts, right? Am I correct? Yeah, 50-something thousand megawatts, if I'm correct. 50-something thousand megawatts, because I think Nigeria is having just about 5,200, which only 3,200 or 3,400 is effective. But Egypt was able to generate up to 50-something thousand within about some few years. So when Peter Obi went there to study how they did this thing, you know, he had made arrangements, and he said it categorically that between this year, that before the end of this year, Nigeria would have up to 7,000 megawatts. From that 5,000 to have up to 7,000 megawatts. Now, which very feasible. Now, if that would have been the plan, if Peter Obi would have succeeded, definitely by now you would have seen those companies in Nigeria. And the budget, the Nigerian budget is too slim compared to the population. Nigeria is a very poor country. For those who doesn't know, Nigeria is not an oil-rich state the way it is. Nigeria is not an oil-rich country. Nigeria is a very poor country. So we are the budget. Okay, Egypt has budget of $130-something billion. Sorry, $90-something billion. South Africa has budget of $130-something billion. So South Africa is literally about $100 billion in budget ahead of Nigeria. Egypt is some $60 billion in budget ahead of Nigeria. So they can invest massively in their power. But with this $30-something billion, and we are still borrowing it, you know, we have a very slim budget. And look at our population. We are about 300 million. Egypt is about 100 million. South Africa is about 60-something million. So look at how humongous their budget is. Then look at how tiny our budget is, despite our large population. So we have a case. We have a serious problem. Okay, we have a very, very serious problem. But here's the game. I warned about Akpabio. I warned about him yesterday. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yesterday. Was it yesterday? They stood up and was singing on Tinubu's mandate, they shall stand. When that man presented this box of budget. And this is exactly what I was warning against that time. That this guy, this Akpabio is a danger. This guy is going to fail. And I said it from day one, even before he assumed office. But guess what? People from Akwa Ibom State started attacking me that it's because it's not from your state. Now, tribalism has finished us in this country. Sentiment has finished all of us. We can no longer even say the truth just because you'll be offending somebody from... I have nothing to worry about and I have nothing to say. I told you people that why I'm saying all this is nice, so that when the reality begins to play out, you will know that I warned earlier. And the fact is that I started living in all these problems earlier Some people came and said it will favor them and their family. I hope it is favoring you and your family. The worst is yet to come.